Hi, I'm Mike Bellevue, and I'm the Black Powder Editor for Gunsmith magazine. And today we're going to be taking a look at Remington's rolling block military rifle. And as you can see, this is a pretty long drink of water. This was the most popular in terms of sales rifle that Remington produced in the late 19th century. Almost every military in the world used some version of this rifle for a while. And we're going to take a look at it here. This is kind of going to be more like an unboxing video than a shooting video, because I'm not on the range that I would typically use to do some rifle shooting, or all my shooting really. We call that bay the Rocky Gorge, and today here at the club there are some organizations doing some training. So they're using the gorge right now, and I am lucky enough to be able to get this bay over here. I'm going to be doing some other videos and we'll do the unboxing. So if you hear some shooting going on, those are some guys shooting handguns over there for training. So you'll probably hear some commands being given and a fusillade of gunfire every now and then if I don't time the video right. But let's take a look at this Remington and see some of the features of it. This is the military configuration of that famous gun. This is probably the most widely used military arm of the late 19th century, as I said. So let's take a little look at it. The rolling block action is very simple and very strong. It really has two major parts: the hammer and the breech block itself, which is this rolling block. So this opens up the action, which allows you to insert a cartridge, close the block, and now on half cock it's safe. Cock it back to fire. Firing pin is right there. Let me eject the cartridge. Show you it's empty. This is very strong. When the hammer is down, it goes into that recess on the block and it actually locks it up. There's no way that action can open. It's one of the strongest actions that was made, and very simple. And this was a major competitor to the Sharps. This is a military version. There were also plenty of civilian versions made. This gun has the military sights. This is actually an aperture sight, and then they all have this little almost worthless barleycorn front sight. It's very important when you get one of these old rolling block rifles to determine what you really have, and you can't just believe what you're told. They usually have no markings on them. So what you need to do first is slug the bore and see how big it is. Now this rifle is a chambered in .43 Spanish, but I'll tell you what, I had an Argentine rolling block that was chambered in .43 Spanish, and the bore on that was .446 instead of .439. Now this one slugged out at .438, which is perfect for using a .439 bullet, so I'm pretty much encouraged. The other thing that you're probably going to need to do is take a chamber cast. Now I've had a few of these, so I've got a series of dummy cartridges now that I can use as go-no-go tests, but I have cast chambers in the past. And luckily, this one was a standard .43 Spanish 2¼ inch cartridge. I've had some that have taken up to 2½ inches, and that can be a real problem. That Argentine roller that I essentially had a Wildcat that it was really more like a 44-90 than it was a .43 Spanish. So you really need to know what you've got before you can get them shooting right. One of the biggest issues on a military rolling block, and this one is no different, is the trigger pull is horrendous. Let me just show you. Bring it to full cock. Now I've got my RCBS trigger pull scale, which as you can see goes up to 25 pounds. I hope you can see. So let's get her on here and see how we do. Okay. 14 pounds. That's what we're reading on the trigger pull scale. That's pretty horrific. So, there are two areas I'm going to address on this rifle. I'm going to keep it basically in military condition, but the sights are just not conducive to good shooting. So I'm going to remove both the rear sight and Mr. John Barleycorn here on the front. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to replace the rear sight with a tang mounted aperture sight. And this is the Marbles, and it has a variety of apertures that you can fit. I've used these before. It's fantastic. This one is made for the Remington #1 rolling block action, which is what we have here. Now it's going to require some drilling and tapping to get that fitted. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that Barleycorn front sight, and I'm going to put on this low dovetailed bead. And that's a large bead because it's at the end of a 30-inch barrel, so I want to be able to see it. So other than that, I'm going to leave it full military externally. I'm going to address that trigger pull because that is just too hard. So I'm going to have a gunsmith lighten it down. And there is one thing you can do at home, and I'll show you that in the video where I show you the final results. So stay tuned for another video on this rifle where we will go through making a lighter trigger and putting better sights on it.